So, my journey learning French has been going spectacularly, and by spectacularly, well, I'm failing. Learning French has been very, very difficult, especially as an English speaker, because there are a lot of differences and nuances in the French language that make it hard to transition from English to French immediately. One of those issues that I found has definitely been pronunciation. French pronunciation is hard for all beginners of French. And it can even be hard for some French people themselves. Take this word right here, and I don't even know how I can pronounce it because there's the double R right here, and then the E-R-I, and then you don't pronounce that E at the end, because you never pronounce like the last letters of French, like it's serrurerie. Serrurerie, yeah, serrurerie. Je suis en serrurerie. God, this language is like a duck is fighting my uvula. But yeah, one of the hardest pronunciations has been the letter R. The letter R is weird in all different languages and has a variety of pronunciations around the globe. But how exactly did the French start using this form of R, and where did it come from? Well, first off, the French R is what is called a guttural R, meaning that's produced in the back of your mouth with your uvula. This is also called a fricative uvular consonant, which again means about the same thing. How we pronounce our R's in English is a bit different than how they do it in French. With R's in English, the tongue is usually way more forward. So try saying the words over or under. Your tongue is immediately at the end of that sentence going forward to create that sound. You're closing your throat a bit more. In French, you actually want a more open throat right here. So you want your tongue a bit further back, and then you pronounce the air, and it will sound something like so that sound is a bit hard. But where exactly does it come from? So initially, before the 18th century, the French actually used to roll their R's, as was the case in Latin, and is still in Italian and Spanish. It wasn't until the 18th century where you started seeing a lot of Parisian influence spread across Europe using that uvular R. This map shows exactly where the uvular R is used. The dark purple is where it's used constantly and in general. Light purple is generally used in educational speech, and others is where it's either not used or very rarely used. You can see on this map that in southern France, they actually still do use occasionally that rolled R in educated speech, as they do as well in Quebec. However, due to Parisian influence, you are still starting to see the uvular pronunciation come into effect more often in spoken French. So where exactly did this French R pronunciation originate? Well, it's kind of up for debate and no one knows exactly. But there are some stories and some rumors that might give a bit more explanation. One of the legends is about King Louis XIV. He was said to have had a speech impediment where he pronounced the R's like the French do today. And it's also said that a lot of people would try to imitate him because he was the king and people wanted to sound like him. Although it is a bit contested whether or not that is actually true. According to the Reddit user No Words of Its Own, Torp City's German linguist Mortis Trautmann, I hope I pronounced that right, in 1880 wrote about the origins. Torp was skeptical because it would be unlikely that someone would try to imitate a king because that would be seen as disrespectful, and knowing the French, you'd probably get your head cut off. So the origins of the R sound are a bit hard to particularly find. According to that same Reddit post, it was also thought that that French R pronunciation was usually considered a speech impediment, and that it wasn't really until the 1600s where that French R was considered more socially acceptable. It's also still contested whether or not that R sound was spread from France into Germany, or if that originated from its own. So the French R is very particular and very quirky when you start thinking about it, but French pronunciation also, once you really get it down, can sound really pretty and can be a very interesting language to speak. I put some links down in the description with some resources that have helped me get down my pronunciation, but still, it's always a learning process. Trial and error is the only way you can really learn anything nowadays, and so you just have to keep trying, you have to keep practicing. It can be really hard, especially because France doesn't exist anymore. I mean, come on, it's 2024, guys. We have to let it go. We have to let it go. Come on. It's probably for the better that we don't have France. Rest in peace, France. You were a real one. But yeah, that's generally the origins and how that French R is pronunciated. Thank you guys so much for watching. Very much appreciate it. If you didn't like it, feel free to call me some mean names in the comments. I promise I won't cry. I'm a very, very strong boy. But thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day, y'all. What the fuck is this language?
Rap snitches, telling all their business. Sit in the court and be their own star witness. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, I'm right here. Fuck around, get the whole label sent up for years. Rap snitches, telling all their business. Sit in the court and be their own star witness. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, I'm right here. Fuck around, get the whole label sent up for years. Tight profile, low, like 8 and paid in